I'm here to introduce Dr. Love. I am Barbara. He's going to talk to you about what the 5 Love Transformations are. It's an integrative healing program that's divided into 5 programs, and emotional mastery deals with thoughts and emotions.
Thank you. Okay, so who am I? Why am I on this journey? Who are you? Why are you here? What can we all learn from each other? My family name is Love, and I didn't feel any love from the Love family. So I left home at 16 to find love. And I ended up in New York, and I found all these people who adopted me. They just took me in, and they took care of me, and they fed me, and they took me around and introduced me to all their friends. It was a process of self-discovery for me. And so when I went to acupuncture school, I thought Chinese medicine was the be-all and end-all. My very first patient, after I finished acupuncture school, I'm doing house calls because I can't even afford an office. I put the needles in, she bursts into tears. So I think, oh, I did something wrong. So I take out all the needles, and I start rocking her, and then I hear this story about her mother blaming her for the father leaving, and so therefore, when she grows up, she's only attracted to older men who then abandon her. So I'm like, gee, I better go back to school, because acupuncture did not prepare me for this. So then later, I ended up learning Tibetan psychiatry. Then I finished that, I go back to Chinatown, New York, and then I meet my Qigong master, who then introduces me to Taoism. Then I end up in Chinatown, and I go into a jewelry store where the owner is Egyptian. So now I'm getting the whole Egyptian flavor. So now I've got Tibetan, Taoist, Buddhist, Chinese medicine, ancient Egyptian all bouncing around in my head. Then I meet my spiritual teacher who says, just sit with it. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is no good, there is no bad. There's just simply what is. And he said, whatever works for this person, you use it. And whatever works for that person, you use it. So I was looking for the unified field theory that could explain everything in the universe. It doesn't work. There's just what works for this person now that's in front of you. So I went from massage therapy thinking that was it, to acupuncture thinking that was it, to herbal medicine thinking that was it, to macrobiotics thinking that was it, and then thinking a shaman, that's got to be the ultimate in a shaman, yeah. And then shamanism is a way of going through a doorway that you can't see into an alternate dimension and bringing back information that is unexplainable. So here we have, you know, my rational Western upbringing, college degree, family, Western medicine, and then over here we've got this whole other energy of ancestral energy that through shamanism is now triggered back 4 million years. Okay, so you're connected to your mother, to her mother, to her mother, to her mother, to her mother, back 4 million years. So we actually have a library inside of us. But it's too much information to carry, so we just go to sleep on it. We just shut it down. I can't remember, it's too much. So that's what we call being asleep. And then when we meet the person who is enlightened, that's what we call being awake. Now, all of us are awake at certain points of the day. 2:15, 4:23, 6:19, we're awake. But the other 23 hours and 22 minutes, we're done. So several philosophers have called it the automaton, the robotic mentality, automatic thinking, and not being connection with the heart and being separated from source. So as I began to study and read all the different cultures, everyone had a different way of explaining it, but they were all really saying the same thing. It's about separation. So we have this need to believe in magical beings. So I began to realize that we are the magical being that we want to believe in. Okay? So it's really fascinating that we have this ability to shine a light that's so bright that we can enlighten other people. And we know that's true because we've seen other people do it, and we're like, yeah, I want to be like them instead of being like myself. I too can be that person. So my objective is health. I had 2 uncles die of heart attacks before they were 50. I had one cousin die of uterine cancer and another cousin die of ovarian cancer before they were 50. That disturbed me. This is my own family. So my motivation is to help my family. So the Love family should be able to help with love. But love was not enough. And that was the biggest breakthrough for me. Love is not enough. You have to have some skills in communication. Okay? Now, what if you went to Germany, all right, and you didn't speak German? Would you be able to understand them? Would they be able to understand you? So even though you don't speak German, you would find a way to communicate non-verbally. Now, through testing, we find out that 80% of all communication is non-verbal. And we think we need the words. Well, words are important. Words are really important. But if you are integrous, if you are integrity with body, mind, heart, mind, spirit, mind, then the heart will communicate directly without words. What do you think about that? So, our purpose is to love and be loved in return. Yes? Anybody disagree with that? Okay. So, if that is our whole purpose, do you want to make that into a tragedy? A dramedy? Or do you want to make it a joyous communication? A celebration? What do you want for yourself? I already know what you want. You want to drum and dance. Right?
I was just thinking that. You read my mind.
So, if life is full of pain and suffering and misery, then my only choice is peace and joy and happiness and celebration. That's my choice. You know, the flood is going to come. The hurricane, the earthquake, the economy, the war. I mean, all that, you have no control over any of that. So the only thing you do have control over is this. Open your heart, close your heart. Open your heart, close your heart. So do you want to walk around, open your heart, close your heart, open your heart, close your heart? Or do you want to just be open all the time? Which one feels better? Which one feels better? Aha! We have a hider. She's hiding. Look, her clothes. My heart is closed right now. I can't answer.
According to what day it is, what time it is, and who's in front of me.
Exactly. So we choose to not open up because of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of ridicule, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of betrayal, fear of abuse. We have a million reasons for not opening up because in the past, that's what happened, right? So is the past a predictor of the future?
No.
Not really. We might think it is. We might say habits die hard. People are creatures of habit. If he did it once, he'll do it again. You know, we got all these sayings, but the past is really no predictor of the future. Okay? Now, who remembers the movie Groundhog Day? One of my favorite movies. Did you see that movie?
Watch a few
Did you see that movie? Okay.
Over and over again.
Over and over and over again, right. I've watched it at least 16 times. Okay, so he messed up, he stole, he lied, he cheated, he did all the wrong things, and then he turned the corner, and then he learned how to ice sculpt and play the piano and read poetry and help ladies across the street and, you know, donate money to the poor. And he went from this scoundrel to this angel. And then and only then did life move forward for him.
And he got the girl.
And he got the girl. Okay. True love. Okay. So, where does true love start?
With you.
Starts inside. Okay? Because when you love you, you become a magnet for everybody to love you. Okay? And everybody does love you already, without question. But you make it up in your head, oh, she thinks my is too small. She thinks my is too long. And we make that stuff up in our heads, and then we project it out. She doesn't like me. I know she doesn't. And you don't know that her stomach is upset from something she ate the night before, and she just happened to glance at you with an upset stomach. And now you made up a whole story about that. Really? So when I see people looking at me funny, guess what I do? I walk right up to them and I say, hi, how are you? I'm going to give you up. And they're like, oh, okay. You see me do that, right? Anybody looks at me weird, I go right up to them. Because I'm going to balance out that energy. I'm going to open my heart, and there's not going to be anything in my way.
I love your hugs.
But you must have been looking at him funny at first.
No, I snuck up on her. I came from behind. So that is the whole reason that I'm teaching this course. Okay? So now you have my raison d'etre. Now, here's the mechanics of it. There's a language that I have created around these concepts of emotions. And hopefully my language will become universal standard language. So the first day I'm going to teach you the whole concept and the philosophy behind your emotions. And that you can literally step outside of yourself, really? And observe yourself in action. And when you find yourself doing that, you're like, oh, that's not a good look. Tomorrow, I'm not gonna go there tomorrow. And you can gradually alter your behavior. So your shame, blame, and guilt, your anger, avoidance, and addiction. Okay? Your abandonment, rejection, betrayal, and abuse, your victim story, your energy thieves. Yeah, I heard you. I'll be right there. I'm listening. Yeah, okay. You're fully present, right? Okay, active listening. Okay? So we're going to teach you how to observe yourself. When you talk on the phone, you're going to look in the mirror. Every time you talk on the phone, and you're going to see a person that you've never seen before. Because you're so busy watching me react to you, you don't see you. Sound like fun? Then the next day, we're going to make it personal. We're going to actually look at ourselves, because I'm going to pair you up, and you're going to role play. And you're going to pretend to be somebody that maybe your grandmother or your aunt or maybe even your mother or your sister. And as you role play, you'll see how easy it is for you to shift in and out of heart space. Okay? And then the next day I'm going to teach you all the tools that you need to know to shift. Okay? Now, how many people here were angry last week over something? Okay. How many people were worried last week over something? It turned out to be nothing, right? How many people were anxious about something? Okay. So we go up and down, Anger, fear, worry. Anger, fear, worry. Anger, fear, worry. And so we flip back and forth between all these feelings. Okay? Now, does that color our experience? Does that color our food choices? Then does that color us getting up to go out dancing? I don't want to go out now. I don't feel good. My tummy hurts. And so we make up a story about how we don't feel good. And the funny thing is that if you have depression or anxiety, exercise is equally effective as drugs for both anxiety and depression. So if you feel depressed, you just throw the covers over your head and just say, screw it, I'll deal with it tomorrow, right? Is that not avoidance? But if you got out of bed and put your best clothes on and went outside and started dancing, you would feel better, wouldn't you? Okay? So, I used to work on Wall Street. I was a commodities broker. I made a lot of money, but every once in a while, I would screw up and I wouldn't make any money. More importantly, I would lose my clients' money. And when you lose a client's money, like 50 grand or 25 grand, you feel really bad. So then I would beat myself up because I lost the client's money. Now, for the 3 weeks before that, I made that money. But this one day, I lost the money. So the 3 weeks before didn't count anymore. It only counted, today I lost the money. And so I beat myself up. And so I went to work one day, and one of my buddies said to me, don't worry about money. Let money worry about you. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Let money worry about. He said, listen, if you're worried about other people's money and you have no control over that, how does that affect how you help somebody else's money? And I was like, oh, yeah. He said, you have to feel good all the time. If you're going to be in this game, you have to make yourself feel good. I was like, right. He said, tomorrow, wear your best suit. Buy a cigar on the way in. And for breakfast, have a shot of brandy. I was like, wow. Okay then. Now, of course, I don't do cigars or brandy anymore. But whenever I feel low, when I wake up, I put on my best clothes and I go to the mall. And I walk up and down. People say, wow, look at you. You look so great. What's going on today? It must be something really important today. I said, yes, it is. Something really important is happening today. I'll tell you later. And in an hour or two, I feel like $1 million. And that's how easy it is good to shift. That's how easy it is for you to shift your energy. Just get dressed up and go out shopping.
Exactly.
And you don't even have to buy anything.
Exactly.
Just go in the store. Try it on. Look in the mirror. You are the light. When you shine it, it shines back. Make sense? So, if I can give you these tools to shift your energy instantaneously, when we did the 5-animal dance, how long did that take?
Oh gosh, that was the most wonderful thing.
10 minutes. 10-minute dance. That was it. And everybody was like, yeah! And you can lock the door, turn on the music, dance for 10 minutes, and then come out and like, yes, you were saying? You can shift it that quick. Now, we have to practice the tools, obviously. I can teach them to you, you can get them in one day, but we gotta practice, practice, practice. It's like riding a bicycle or playing the piano. Now, we get another chance to practice these tools when we change our diets. Okay? Now, 80% food, 20% exercise. That's the 80-20 rule. But it's easier to change your relationship than it is to change your diet. I'll get a new boyfriend, but I'm not giving up fried chicken. Don't ask me to give up chicken. I went to one of these evangelical churches where the the ministers on TV. Reverend Ike, remember Reverend Ike? Anybody know Reverend Ike? Okay, he was one of the first TV evangelists. So I went to his church, and they invited me in. I gave him a whole presentation. And he says, well, you have to talk to the ladies' auxiliary. So I'm like, okay. So go in to talk to the ladies' auxiliary. Stone face. No rhythm. No expression. Neutral, dead energy. I said, I'm not changing your food. You're still going to have string beans. You're still going to have mac and cheese. You're just not going to fry it. You're not going to cook it in pork fat. You still can eat the food. So Saturday morning, I'm taking them out to Whole Foods for shopping. Not one of the ladies showed up. Not one. So I can't spend their money. So that ended my evangelical church mission. So I learned I can't change your diet until I change your feeling about the food. And that's why we do emotional mastery first, and then we do the food therapy second. Now, 1% of the population exercises 3 times a week. 1%. Does that sound like a big number? Not to me.
It's terrible.
So, 1%, 3 times a week? What? Really? What are the other 99% doing? Twice a week? Once a week? Or, I go out dancing. Yeah, at least twice a year I go out dancing. Really? Congratulations. It kills me. So I get a couple, married couple, they've been married 10, 15 years. The husband has back pain, the wife has neck and shoulder pain. So I asked the husband, I said, when was the last time you took your wife out dancing? He said, what? She said, yeah, we went to the wedding 2 years ago. The wedding, okay. So if you're not dancing, if you don't have joy in your life, if there's no movement, how are you going to be happy? How are you going to create health? How are you going to magnetize anything positive if you don't dance? Right? When was the last time you went dancing?
It's been a while.
It's been a while? Uh-oh. When was the last time you went dancing?
Oh, forget that.
Forget that.
Long time.
When was the last time you went dancing? I don't know. Okay. IDK. All right. When was the last time you went dancing, Michelle?
Like went or it just happened. Those are 2 different things, you know. It just happened when we did the animal dances.
Okay,
I
that just
didn't
happened.
go anywhere.
Okay, but when did you plan to go somewhere to dance?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Okay.
I got it.
You got it.
Yeah, when I went to Ocean Music Festival, I planned on dancing there.
Okay.
March, there we go. Thank
Okay.
you.
April. Okay. All right.
Dude, I met you dancing.
You met me dancing. And we go dancing at least, what, twice a month?
I go every week.
You go every week.
At least.
At least every week, okay. But I see you at least twice a month, okay. So we boogie, we go out, we boogie, right? You just started, right? I just got her dancing.
Again.
Again, okay. So the third workshop, the third course is movement therapy. Now, why is movement therapy? Because each movement is connected to a muscle, which is connected to a meridian, which is connected to an organ. Okay? So, if I do this particular movement, which organ do you think I'm working?
A lot of them.
The lungs. Okay. And if I did both of them? Both lungs. And what's in the middle of both lungs?
Heart.
The heart. Okay. So this movement is going to benefit my heart. Okay? Now, what if I did this one? She is so smart! Okay? Because when I do this and I stamp and I throw my hip out, it's going to compress my kidney. Okay? So each movement benefits an organ. And if you increase blood flow to an organ, you also increase blood oxygen, you also increase nutrients, and the organ is happy.
And how about your back?
How about your back?
Yeah.
Well, the movement is working your back, which is what compresses the kidney. So the movement, the muscle, the meridian, the organ.
So when people say I can't dance because I have back problem, they need to move their back?
That's what they need to do. That's exactly what they need to do. So you have a spine. Each vertebrae has a space. And there's a little disc, little cartilaginous disc in between. And you have spinal erectors, which are tendons which turn your spine from side to side. So let's say this was the spine. So 3 inches on each side, it's just tendons. The muscles don't start until you're over here. But from here to here is all tendon. Now tendons are like rubber bands. They only stretch so far. The muscle is like a bungee cord. You can yank on a bungee cord. You can put weight on a bungee cord. But the tendons don't have as much movement. So if you force your spine to turn and you stretch those tendons, you literally strengthen the rubber band. Okay? And so that increases the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. Now at the base of your spine there's a pump called the sacral pump. And that pumps fluid up, which lubricates the spine and lubricates the brain. Now, in that fluid is what we call chemical messengers. So when you think a thought and you say, I'm going to pick up this cup of hot tea, so the brain says, extend the arm, open the fingers, grasp the fingers, feel the heat, lift the arm, pull it in, open your mouth. So there's a whole set of instructions that happen inside the cerebrospinal fluid because all that movement is actually coming from the spine. Now, if your cerebrospinal fluid is dirty due to overwork, overeating, overdrinking, not getting enough exercise, not getting enough sleep, then you have dirty water in your cerebrospinal fluid. And in that dirty water, the chemical messenger is like, it was the third left or the second right, I can't remember. And so now the chemical messengers are confused, and then you knock over the glass, you spill hot water on your leg, and then you break the cup. How many times have you seen that happen? So our clumsiness is just dirty water in the cerebrospinal fluid. So when you do the movement, guess what kicks in? The lymphatic system. And the lymph system is a filter. And the lymph system filters the dirt out of the cerebrospinal fluid. Wow, God made it really easy. But if you don't dance, you can't filter the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay? Now, spiraling, spinning, when you spiral to the left, you take the energy up. When you spiral to the right, you take the energy down. So how many people do you know who are what we call ditzy or klutzy or airy-fairy or flighty? We all know a couple of those people, right? Well, those people need to spin to the right so they can ground their energy. And other people who are heavy and rigid and set in their ways, those people need to spin to the left and pull the energy up. Make sense? Okay. But you're not going to get that in a magazine. You're not going to get that in fitness class. You're not going to get that in yoga class. You're not going to get this information unless somebody can teach it to you. So that's what you're going to learn in movement therapy. Now, what is the overwhelming biological urge that all of us are born with?
Sex.
Okay. The need to reproduce
Procreation.
ourselves. Through sex.
Straight to the point.
I read the brochure.
You read the Okay, so we have a biological need to reproduce ourselves, okay? And sex is God's chosen method of reproduction. And anybody disagree with that? No? Nobody? I'd like to get one to argue. Okay. So, this crowd is too easy. All right. So, if sex is God's chosen method of reproduction, don't you think that would be considered sacred?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would if God chose it, it's got to be sacred, right? But what do where do we put sex at? Don't we put it on the profane side?
Dirty.
Right, sex is dirty. Especially if you're a Catholic. Sex is really bad. Sex is bad, 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 bad. Oh, you're getting married now. Sex is good, 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 good. But I heard it was bad, 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 bad. How can it be good, 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 good? Because now you're married. Well, I don't know what to do. Because I've been walking around like this for 21 years. Now it's supposed to be good. I don't know what to do. So, what do 13-year-old girls think about sex?
They think it's gross. All the ones in my office say, ew.
It's because it is. I'm sorry.
Until they meet a 15-year-old. And what do 15-year-old girls think about sex? What they learn from the 17-year-olds. And what the 17-year-old girl think about sex, what they learn from the 19-year-olds. So each little
Exposure.
generation is looking at the girls slightly older than them to see what they are doing. And they want to do what the older girls do. Yes? No? Yes?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So, what if they don't know what they're doing?
Most of them don't.
They don't. So how are they going to copy somebody? So now they're 20-something years old, and they might watch a porno, or they might get a book on the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Sex. When I was 16, my father gave me this book. 16! The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Sex. It's 300 pages. Thanks, Dad. What am I supposed to do with this?
Was that a turnoff? I would think.
I was the smartest kid in the neighborhood. I was giving everybody sex lessons. I was a virgin until I was 19. I didn't know what I was talking about, but it looked really cool in the book. So the amount of misinformation that's out there is astounding because nobody teaches anything.
And that encyclopedia didn't teach you sacred sex.
It absolutely did not. And in fact, it didn't even teach me how to insert tab A into slot B, which is what I was really looking for, but that never came up. So,
In all 300 pages.
in all 300 pages, that never came up. So,
No pun intended.
no pun intended. So, no. So, what I teach is the energy of sexual expression and how that shows up individually. Because all of us are different and we all express differently. Some, with the thigh high, and some with the slit up the side, and some with the long dress and the neck up to here, and no underwear underneath. So everybody's different. So the thing is how people read your energy, okay? And again, coming back to the mirror, we get to look at ourselves and how we project our sexual energy. And does that work for us or not? And could we project it differently? And would it work for us? Now, that's just the outer, okay? Now, many of us have seen a guy and go, oh, that guy's hot. And you give him the eye, and he knows you're giving him the eye. And if he feels insecure, inadequate in any degree, what does he do? Chung! He takes off. And you're like, but wait, don't go. And you're not realizing that he's insecure. Okay? And the same thing has happened to you. Some guys come after you. I never forget this girl. She was 105 pounds. And she says, I don't feel sexy. I was like, huh? She says, I'm 5 pounds overweight. What? My normal weight is 100. I'm 105. I don't feel sexy. Don't touch me. What? So 3 days I tried to, nowhere. And I just gave up because, okay. So this is what we do. We make up stories about ourselves and we, not tonight, not today, not ever, stay away. And we make up this stuff and it's all nonsense. So what I do is teach you how to look at yourselves and how to make the appropriate shift on how you express, okay? Now, the other thing that I do is teach you how to circulate the energy through your body, how to make it flow, okay? Now, you all have heard of Kegel exercises, yes?
There are enough women in here, yes.
There's enough women in here. So, what are Kegel exercises?
When you strengthen your
Muscles.
muscles.
So you can have a
Down
baby. Right, okay. So, do you know that men have exercises that they can do also?
Pelvic floor, that's what I was thinking of.
Pelvic floor, very good. Did you know that?
Men don't have a pelvis.
No. That men have muscles in the pelvic floor that need to be strengthened?
I was not aware.
Not aware of that, okay. Did you know that?
I learned that from your radio.
You learned that, you learned that from radio. Okay, so I grew up not feeling anything between here and here until I was like 32 years old. And when I did wake up and like, oh, I have feeling here, I was like, man, I've wasted 18 years of my life. Because there's no thought process, there's no teaching, there's no school, there's no philosophy that says how to circulate energy in here, okay? So when you pee, when you poo, and you don't even think about anything with the muscles of the anal sphincter that actually evacuate, that actually push a baby out, that actually can actually draw in energy and then push it out. You can pull it in and push it out, pull it in, push it out. And if you don't know these things, you don't think about it, okay? And people have all type of digestive disorders and reproductive disorders because they don't use the muscles or have any feeling or conscious connection to the internal organs. That you can literally compress your kidneys, you can compress your bladder, you can compress your uterus, you can compress your ovaries. You can do this with your ovaries, but you don't know that because nobody ever told you that you could. And you don't even like the ovaries are there somewhere. I don't know where, but they're there. So that's what we're going to learn how to do.
Because my Egyptian yoga teacher taught me how to use those muscles, when I gave birth to my daughter, it was pain-free and I pushed 3 times and she came out. So
Just
if you want to know why you should do that, it made a big difference. I mean, I didn't know what I was pushing, but I had been exercising the stomach muscles and she came out. So there are benefits.
So if you plan on having children one day? Okay. Now, that brings us to my purpose, which was to teach you about health in the first place. So that's where I started this journey, because I wanted to teach people about health. But I realized that if I didn't teach about the emotions and the food and the exercise and the sex, I couldn't get to the health part because your ideas are delusional. You have no connection with reality about your body. And like, I want chicken and french fries. I like Royal Crown Cola. Anybody ever drink Royal Crown?
RC Cola.
RC Cola?
Oh, yeah.
Of course. Dr. Pepper?
Don't be talking about Dr. Pepper.
Big Wiggly? So we all are connected to our comfort food.
Yeah.
Okay? So here I'm trying to get you about health, and you're stuck in comfort food. 3 days with no food? Are you crazy? I'll kill somebody, and you'll be the first one. Okay then. So the health part is what I consider the most significant because #1 cause of death in America is heart disease, followed by cancer. All cancers is #2, and diabetic complications is #3. Okay?
I thought iatrogenic disease was number 3.
Iatrogenic disease, I believe, is number 4, because iatrogenic disease is 300,000 a year. And I think diabetic complications is closer to 1 million. Okay. But it might change from year to year. Okay. Iatrogenic disease, for those of you who don't know, is disease caused by taking medicine. And the AMA admits that 300,000 people die each year from properly prescribed medication.
Properly.
Properly prescribed. Okay. Would iatrogenic disease include something else besides medication?
Yeah, malpractice.
Malpractice?
Drugs, overdose.
Incontinence?
Medical errors.
Medical errors.
Already
Okay.
self-medicating?
No.
Not self-medicating, because iatrogenic means.
Somebody else gets it.
So, diabetic complications, iatrogenic, it's all right in the same ballpark. Okay.
It's preventable.
It's preventable, thank you, because that's where I'm coming from, is prevention and reversal. Okay? So number 1 cancer in America is colorectal cancer. Number 2 is lung cancer. Number 3 is breast cancer. Number 4 is prostate cancer. Okay? So prostate and breast, hormonal
Yeah,
triggers,
exactly.
diet related, colon and lung cancer,
Elimination.
smoking, high-fat diet, lack of exercise. So lifestyle and hormones, both related to food. So the food is the critical piece. Food and obviously exercise is the critical piece. So even though I can tell you, you need to exercise 45 minutes, 6 days a week, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna join the gym next week. I'm gonna go 3 months and then you'll never see me again. And that's what most people do. They stop going after 3 months. They pay for the year and after 3 months they're done, okay? Why do you think that is?
It becomes like a task, like they're pushing themselves to go, they don't really want to go, and they're like, oh yeah, I have to go to the gym because I have to lose weight and I have to do it. And finally they say, all right, okay, that's enough now, I just don't want to go anymore.
Unless there's a level of embarrassment, it seems like a gym would need a motivation.
The gym is the motivation. Drama.
There was a
Old program.
You made a statement about how, thank you very much, how we are that magical being that we want to be. I think we forget.
Absolutely.
I think they go to the gym for 3 months because they start to see progress. They start to see something like, ooh, I lost 5 pounds, I'm healthy again. And then, like you said, they go back to their old habits.
So they need positive reinforcement. They also need accountability partner.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So we got to create a buddy system to create the accountability so that they will continue and not fall off the wagon.
Exactly.
Who was your accountability partner when you lost the weight?
Myself?
I was your accountability partner when you lost
Yes,
the
oh,
weight.
yes, but yeah, you've always been my partner. Always go out back to you when I fall, like, let me go see Dr. Love.
Okay. Was anybody else in this room your accountability partner?
Super shy.
Okay. Just so you don't forget.
Yes.
Okay. So, if we're going to do this program, the emotions and the food and the movement and the sex and the health, we need to have an accountability partner to go with us through the process. Okay? So you have one lined up, right? You got one lined up, you got one lined up. So the health piece, like I said, is the thing that I consider most important, but we have to go through these others in order to get to that part. Okay? Now, what if you mastered these tools? Would you want to tell your brother or your sister about it? Your mother, partner, co-worker? Would you want to tell them about it once you've mastered the tools, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what if you made them your buddy partner to go through the process?
When I did the yoga certification, I did it with my daughter. And we went through it better than anybody. because we had a partner to do that. You know, she lived in the house with me. I couldn't lie and say, oh yeah, I did my yoga today. You know, I would fall asleep. She would wake me up. If I fell asleep before I was supposed to do my yoga, she would do that. And if she got distracted, I'd get her straight. So we had somebody to keep us straight. Well, I do want to say that my breakthrough for today, because since I've done the emotional mastery, almost every day, I'm like, good, I got this down, I'm good. And then something comes up to remind me that this is a lifelong process. And so this didn't really come up today. It came up a few days ago. I was talking to my daughter because I'm like, I've been tapping, I've been breathing, I'm doing the exercises, I'm on this, I got it going on. Now you need to get it together. And then so she said, yeah, well, I'm going to talk to my friend and I'm going to mention the story of you and Paul. And when she said Paul, my energy went, almost fell out. I'm like, crap, I got something else I have to deal with. I haven't talked to Paul and I don't, crap. You know what I mean? And so I talked to Paul today and I talked to him about the stuff I hadn't talked to him about in 20 years. And he was actually ready for the conversation. So once I got ready for the conversation, Paul and I had the conversation. It was really wild. But I knew I needed to have the conversation because I was no longer zero balance. I freaked out at the sound of someone's name. I knew I needed to address it, and I used the tools to ask the right question to address the issue. So that was my breakthrough for today. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
So it's a continual lesson.
Yeah. But when you have the tools, the reason I took it was because you said, by using this process, because I'm like, dude, I've known you for a lot of years. I've taken a lot of your classes. Why is this different? You said, once you learn to zero balance yourself, I'm like, zero balance? Yes, not being manic and not being depressed. That place in the middle, when you make a decision from zero balance, then you stand a much better chance of making a good decision. I'm like, wow, I make a lot of decisions. I don't think I've ever made one from zero balance. You know, if I did, it was by accident. But if I can get with that concept, and so going through that, now I know the difference when I'm freaking out, when I'm low, high, and not balanced. And that's my goal. Stay balanced every day. I can be happy, but balanced.
Balance without fear.
Yes.
You weren't scared.
Exactly.
And something good came from it.
Now, we're not going to say I wasn't afraid to have that conversation. But I did it in such a calm way that he wasn't afraid to have the conversation.
That's a good point.
So from what Suja is saying, when you're confronted with something that will give you anxiety or fear or what have you, any kind of that deep emotion.
Any kind of electrical charge whatsoever.
That's when you have to stop, breathe, and confront, or
No.
not confront, but
No, just open your heart.
Exactly.
Open your heart. So somebody comes in front of me and they're blame, guilt, shame, and then I'm like, okay, what did I do to magnetize this? I must have done something, otherwise it wouldn't be in my face. So let me open. Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention. What is it that you need to express? And then the more they are,
they don't have anyone to fight with.
exactly, because I don't feed it. I just accept it. And once I accept it, then they run out of gas. Well, maybe I did it the wrong way. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come off like that. And I've never said anything, and they've spun themselves, and now they're reversing. But if I like, no, don't come at me with that. I don't want to listen to that. No, shut up. Now and now it's escalating, and now it's up here. Okay, and you don't want to be up here because then the next thing is somebody's going to get smacked in the face. Okay, one last thing, just some generally specific information. Above your belly button is your stomach. Below your belly button is your small and large intestine. So when people say, I'm sick to my stomach, what do they really mean? Do they really mean above the belly button or below the belly button? Probably below the belly button, which means there's some incomplete digestion, or what I call undigested fecal matter backing up the system. Which means that your eyes are brown because
you're full of crap.
So you need to get rid of your constipation. And there's an herb called Triphala. And if you take Triphala every day, which is a very mild laxative, very mild, it's made for vegetarians, you keep the system clean and it doesn't back up. Now, if you're not attached physically, then you won't be attached mentally. Okay? So how many people are rigid and stiff and attached to wrong ideas that don't serve them? And how many people are flexible and loose and just go with the flow and make the adjustments so that everything works?
Working on it.
Now, Triphala is made from 3 different types of Indian gooseberry. Amla, Bibitaki, and Harataki. And I happen to have Amla and Harataki in my office. Now, if you've ever seen a picture of the Buddha, or the medicine Buddha, he's holding the myrabalan fruit, which is Indian gooseberry. And that was his main medicine, because everybody he met was full of sugar, honey, iced tea. So, one of the main issues that we have is attachment. We're attached to wrong ideas that don't serve us. Okay? We're living in a 21st century world based upon 15th century ideals. Okay? Exploitation, negative energy,
A lot of that.
you know, corruption, bribery, murder, assassination. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So our objective is to find the happiness within. Please come in. And when you find the happiness within, then love walks in the door every time. Hello, love.
Hello.
So that about winds up my presentation. And thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Love. I love you, Dr. Love. So we talked about the whole program, the 5 different phases, experiences, and he has divided them into retreats, right? They're 4 days. And besides that experience, the 4 days, there's 2 follow-up meetings, coaching meetings, right? There's 21 days after that you're still going to have the support. We're still going to have calls so that you stay on point doing all the tools every day, okay? So that you create this as a habit for you. If there are any healers, any teachers, coaches in the room, this is great for you just to add more knowledge, more wisdom to your teaching tools so that you can learn, so that you can teach your clients, like, why isn't my client following through? Okay, maybe you can go back to emotions so that you can experience this for yourself and learn everything, and you know, you're gonna have handouts and a book so that you can then use this with your clients. So I think it's really for everyone, those who are teaching people or who are coaching people, and just for yourself as well. If you're in partnership and in relationship, highly recommend it.
I think it's something that like my family would benefit from.
Absolutely.
And thinking about doing it, you know, you said with a partner. It's my mom, my dad, my brother, and I.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if I should do first with my mom, then her and I, or maybe first with my brother, or what do you guys, any recommendations on?
What are you feeling?
Well, I think you should go through with your mom first.
Yeah.
I think you should go through your mom first, and then you should take your brother and your father through.
Yeah. I'll check it out with my mom. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm also
go from
there.
We're good relators to the boys anyway. So.
Yeah. That is true. And thank you, Jonathan, from the Latte Bar.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.